This part right here. Do that. Never understand that part. Trying something here. See how that works. All right, not working. Okay, so we have to do it this way. I still don't understand why doesn't it just do speaker view and make the person who's speaking be we'll figure that out. Well, greetings, greetings. It is a Four C's author check-in, and I'm grateful for everyone who is here today. This is our second check-in as we go forward with the writing of the Four C's. Yeah, the Four C's, where we are creating change for a better tomorrow, and we understand that it starts today. So the Four C's, at this point, every author knows their C. We should be very clear on what C you are writing with. I do understand that some authors, some of the C's converge at points where community and civility usually go hand in hand, or civility and creativity. Sometimes you'll see some where they merge together. It can be immersive. So that's fine too, but your more dominant C will be, the category that you'll be representing. Speaking of civility or community, creativity, and of course, climate change, these are all very important topics. And just, the one thing I want to keep in mind is that the current events, we still are, we like to say post-pandemic, but you guys know, like I know that, some of the reports and the numbers are now, there's lockdowns again in China, there's things that's developing out of Europe. So it's still evolving, right? And I think in each of your areas, we can even speak to that, how there's the mask mandate that's being lifted. You got people in stores that will wear masks. There's people that won't. There's people that are immunized. There's people that's getting the boosters, right? All of these things are really still a very important part of our culture in the world that we live in. And I don't want you guys not to talk about it or address it in that regard, right? So thinking about post-pandemic, we're not really in the shut in as we were, but you are starting to come out of that. And what do you see and how things are changing in your community? How are things changing, and are you seeing civility increase, decrease? Of course, the war that's going on between Russia and the Ukraine, the things with the NATO, for us, President Biden is now, I think, in Brussels, right? So I want to just encourage you all to think on a global level, even concerning climate change, even creativity, believe it or not. It's just a lot bigger and broader topics than what we think if we just think of our own backyards, but think even globally what's going on and how it's affecting you and I and all of our, even let's just say our colleagues. Yesterday, I had a call, two days ago, with a young lady in Burundi, and she's actually going to be one of our co-authors. And she was sharing how, just the baked goods, and bread and cakes and rolls, a lot of those things to make the baked goods are imported from Russia and the Ukraine, and how they're being affected by the sanctions, right? And things not being imported, and exports, right, from Russia, how that's affecting, and countries are really starting to see what we will say a new crisis because of the war. So feel free, you know what I mean, to excuse me, guys, feel free to include that perspective in your writing, right? Because I want you to always consider the audience and those that are around the world that are hearing your story, hearing your perspective, and those that are being represented by what you share. right? So women in the United States, students, girls in the United States will read the story of what you know and develop in regards to climate change in South America, what's happening in East Africa, right? So you are being the one that pushing that story, right? And we talk about community, even for Adriana, speaking about community and the challenges and incivility and social injustice that's happening, right? You're raising awareness to that, but you're also talking about the solution. And so the one thing I want to make sure we focus on is to be solution minded. And the things that you are talking about and writing about, what are some of the issues, some of the major challenges, right? But then what are you saying is the solution? You being the solutionist, I think one of the young ladies, I don't know if that was in this one of the chapters that I shared with you all, was talking about being a solution. And what are some of the solutions that you propose? And are there some examples of that? Right? Or are you the first one offering this as a solution? Right? What does that look like to you? So I really want you to embody that listen, what I'm talking about, what I'm writing about, what I'm presenting, right? Albeit new, albeit something old, a standard or a protocol that's already been in place for years, that's tested, tried and true, or I am presenting something that is new, something that is innovative, right? For people to consider, to implement, right? Or to maybe even add to what they already may be working on. So I just really want you guys as authors to understand the role that you play and how major it is. Right. And so again, thinking about solutions at this point, at this check-in, we're, about a month in, you should certainly be at this point in your chapter, if not, if you haven't already, to really start thinking about solutions. So you should have already been presenting about, the current events, right? The current status of things, right? And what you know in the research that you have, what's that word? Obtained, all right? And then now considering what does that look like as regards of being the solution? All right. So I shared an example and Adriana has that. I don't know if we can drop it in the comments today or we can make sure that everyone gets an example of Rush Beauty's chapter on civility. I thought it was a very, very strong, powerful chapter. There's another one on community that I want to share with you all so that you can see some chapters and some examples. Nothing meaning that you have to pattern your chapter on that. But I think reading through it and singing, the positioning that they came from last year may help you. It might give you some insight. So that's why the examples are being shared with you or will be shared with you. Okay. So make sure you read through those. Thank you. So she dropped the link in there. So if you don't have that, you want to go ahead and look at that chapter. I will share another one or two in regards to community and another one in regards to civility for you. So this week you'll get two more. So you should have a total of 3 chapters that came from the first book. To again help you pattern. I always talk, let's look for some quotes. Statistics are huge, right? And again, examples of, and highlight other people, highlight other activists, right? Highlight even those people that may not even be living right now. Maybe they're gone, but their legacy of work in the area, in the arena that you, good afternoon, that you are representing, I feel is key. Even as regards to climate change, Nadia, there was a young lady, even for us in the US, I have to find her name. She was like a real pioneer, especially even in regards to us and women of color. A lot of times you don't necessarily see a lot of girls of color that are champion for climate change. And I really want to change that. And I hope that you even be a proponent and someone that really encourages, youth, which I'm sure you are, because I know this is something that you are passionate about, but make sure that your writing is encouraging and invigorating and like, oh, wait a minute, that and then the little things that we can do, because sometimes it feels like it's so big, right? And it can be a daunting task. But if you are giving some information that is like, well, here's where you can start, if we can at least give everyone a starting point and maybe even paint a journey on how they can get there, I think that would be powerful. I think that would be powerful. So hopefully you're taking notes, and if you're watching the recording, you understand the goal in that at this point is that you're looking at solutions. You're offering solutions. You're offering advice. You're offering suggestions to the readers and how they can create a better tomorrow and how they can start today. So understanding the title, I think I'm going to switch it up a little bit for this book, the subtitle. I'm going to share with you guys my writing and things that I can add to it, just so you'll know a bit of my perspective. But I like to see you guys drafts first, and then I try to pull it in together. But I'm thinking about this one being a bit about the road, the road to the future, right? And so I think something on the cover is going to be about, like, to get to that point, because a lot of times we're far from it. And so that's why we are the solution. That's why this book is so powerful, and the series and the trainings and what we do are so powerful, because consider this being a roadmap, and we might just be offering the second leg in the journey, to get people to where they need to be. So I'm feeling like something on the cover is going to be, because I haven't done the cover yet, but I think I'm going to start sticking with the change for a better tomorrow, but something about the journey on the road to the future begins here or right here. So that's a little something. So I'm working with y'all too. Like, believe you me.
I love that.
You
Yeah, I
love
was
it?
saying, and I love this. I love this title because when I was writing, I kind of like, incorporated some insights and some perspective into the future. So I think like if you include this, it'd be great because that's what we really are talking about.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody give me a high five. A virtual high five. Yeah, that's what I got in my spirit last, probably over the weekend. Like, it's something about a road. Like, so, so guys, get it. You know what I mean? Get that in you, because that's what we're gonna
Yeah.
be doing. So it's like getting people on a bus with us, so like this whole Four C's shuttle. Right? Here's
I,
what we're doing, but come on and join us for the ride. Like, here's a piece of it. Here's my C, and if this
I love.
strikes a nerve with you, then come on and let's move forward with that. So that's what I have, and that's what I think I'm gonna. The cover is going to be like a road or something. I don't know. But I just wanted to share that with you all. And like I said, at this point, you should certainly be in the space where you are talking about solutions. Okay, you're offering solutions, you're offering the roadmap, you're at least like, listen, the first step is this, the next step, I don't know how many steps each of you might have for the folks, but you're now taking them forward, like plowing forward. Okay, so look at it in that regard. So that was pretty much the main tips that I have in regards to where you should be now in your chapter, and letting the overall vision of it and what I'm getting as we're moving forward. And I'm grateful that we're on the same page with that. Nadia confirming that. And so what I wanted to do was let you guys know, just as far as updates. Technically your rough draft should be in next week. I think, what's the end of the month? I don't know the calendar. Let me get it out here. But so you guys really should be working on that and have your rough draft. Yeah. So that's why this meeting was important. So I think it really was the 28th, but I'm going to say like March 31st. Look, I'm going to show you that is a week from today, that we really are talking about having your rough drafts in as a good place to start. I do understand one of our co-authors is actually running for political office in Kenya. So she has asked me for some grace, but she has sent me her bio. Like, there's some things that are in place, but she will get a bit of a grace because of that. And their primaries that are taking place right now. So once those primaries are done, so she has a bit of a grace, but that has nothing to do with everyone else. She has asked for that exception, and understanding that she is actually running for a political office in Kenya. But she is going to be one of your authors as well. But yes, so we need to text this to me. What does yes, let me know what you need to text Adriana. You can find out for sure what she needs. We're going to make sure that you get the examples of the chapters. But the dates and such should have been in your contract, so you know for sure when it, but I know it was the end of March. But I think we had it for the 28th, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna give you to March 31st to at least do your rough draft, because here's what happens, right? Your first draft is not your final draft. Okay, so I read that. I have 2 other editors that I work with on a team. So we need them to have the time to do it. And then you're going to have the feedback from that, right? And then you're going to have to redo it. Usually it's 3 takes. And so that's important for us to have the time to do that, to really have this book published by June. Okay, so I really need you to set aside the time, get in that space, light your candles, do whatever it is, play your music, get outside, go to the library. I don't know what it takes, to just get in a space, in a zone to actually write. But I need you to get into that zone and make it happen, because you got the goods for sure. So that's just a bit of my a bit of my spiel for today, of my check-in. And I just want to open up the line and answer some questions, but I want to make sure at this point we should have your headshots and your bios. They should be in. If you need help with that, then let me know. I'm receiving some CVs, and CVs are fine if that's the format that you want it in. But because it's in a book, I prefer that it's like a paragraph story format. So, you could say where you went to school, your experience, but putting it in a different format will flow a bit better. And I can send you guys an example of a bio if you want. But that would be the best. And Adriana, maybe we can do that. Even if you go in some of our bios from the STEM conference, just pick a bio, in the age category, is relatable. Maybe we can send a bio or 2 to give examples for those who haven't sent that in yet. We can share them some bios from let's get those out to them as well. But headshots are important, especially those that are going to Africa or are meeting us in Africa and going to be a part of the tour, because you will be speaking. There will be a point you were going into schools. You're going to possibly even be speaking to some universities with me. We're having our 4C summits. Some places they're going to be mini summits. Some places is large summits, anywhere from 300 to 500 girls, youth, if you will. I know that's what's in place in South Africa for us now. So you're going to, really be speaking and sharing. We might do panels. It depends on the amount of time. You might just be speaking yourself individually for 15, 20 minutes. But we'll get more into that. Right now, it's the writing piece. Okay, right now it's just the writing, right? Because then after that, we're going to get into it, and I'll have like my mentor and coach come and share a little bit about, actually speaking and how to tie it into the various audiences. But for now, I don't want to get too far further myself, but I wanted you, that's why it's important to get the headshots to me, because I am working out the flyers. And one thing I want to try, Nadia, is even if you can't be there, I would love to see if we could stream, but even if we can't stream, I'm going to have you do a recording so we can play the recording, okay, at some of the events. I would love to do stream, right, and maybe have you, but I don't know with technology and internet, if and where that would work. But if nothing else, I would like for you to do, maybe a 10 to 15 minute video, right, talking about your perspective. And maybe it'll be for different countries. You might have different instructions, or more details of research for Kenya than you would have for South Africa. Again, especially with climate change, it might be different. But on the back end of it, that's something that we'll be doing. And I wanted you to be aware of that and prepare for it. So even though you may not be traveling with us, I would still like to infuse your topic and your presentation, especially you and Landra, for climate change, because that's huge.
I will.
One thing in Kenya, we're going to go and visit a village of, I think, almost like 1,000 girls and women. And they have something where they've learned how to clean the river and get like clean water. So I'm actually going to give you that name so you can even look them up. The Sekanani village, I think, in Kenya. So, we're going to be learning about climate change and what some of women are doing in these various areas and regions as well. So we're going to be bringing that back, right? And seeing how we can expand that and help and support them. So I know this trip is not necessarily one that you can make, but we're definitely going to have more, right? And we're going to take that research, and bring it back. And so that you guys can expound upon that as well. Okay. All right, I see Janine has made it here. Janine, we're pretty much wrapping up now, but what I need to just some overview is that we're just at this point in your chapter, which C have you chosen, albeit civility, community, creativity, or climate change. You want to really speak about some of the challenges, some of the accomplishments, some of the current events in the area of your C, in your region, in your country. But then also we want to consider solutions. What are you saying is the solution? What are the things that you think, or the road or the journey that you feel like others can do and take to improve in that area of your C, and really end it in regards to solutions? Highlighting solutionists, highlight people that are doing great work and activists in that area. And it could be people that it could be someone that you've never met before. It could be someone, an author, or, an activist or a scientist. It could be someone that, you just really admire from afar. You can speak to them in your chapter. Okay. And so the goal is to have the rough draft a week from today, which is March 31st, to have that emailed to us. And then we will review it, have the editors look at it, and they'll give feedback to you. And then you'll make your updates and try to get that. Like, I really want to at least have the second draft in by the middle of April. And then that gives us about 2 weeks or so, because I really want to start getting it fully edited and formatted, by the middle of May. All right, so we got to really be clear on the deadlines at this point. So bios and headshots are due. They're overdue. They should have been in. So your bio and your headshot is what needs to get to Adriana like today. Okay. And then finishing up and working up on your chapter this weekend and next week, and getting a rough draft into us a week from today will be perfect. So I'm going to open up for some questions.
Hi, this is Tamika. Hi, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for answering that, because that was my question about the bios. I don't know what is going on with me, but I am just procrastinating and slow moving. There's just been too much transition in my life lately. So please keep me in prayer, y'all. Amen. But I thank you for providing the examples, because I hit like a writer's block when I was writing on civility, and my spirit kept just talking about relationships and respect and what that looks like. And so I had bullet points, but I'm like, I feel stuck as to where to go next. But when you were also saying like, this is a roadmap, and like, I love that a lot. And like, these are solutions. And so that really in my spirit just brought some clarity of like, okay, I can definitely write in these solutions into the body of, my chapter. So thank you for that clarity. Cause I was like, God, you gotta help me out here now. Cause these words ain't flowing. They're not flowing. And now I know why. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I get it, because that's why getting in a space is important. I really have to encourage you guys to do that. Writing, some people it comes too easy, and then sometimes it could be challenging. But really getting in a space where you are at peace, where things flow, where your mind can flow. You know what I'm saying? Your energy. I like how you have the bullets. Now maybe putting those in order and then filling in the gaps for that. Because again, thinking about that roadmap, thinking about that journey. Where will someone start? Where are you leading them to? Like, what is the end? Even if you want to say the end, start with the end in mind. And what does that like take from the far extreme? What would it take to get them to that point? What you think, would be euphoria, whatever, I'm not sure what, where you are with it, but taking them through that path and what does that look like in that journey, I think will be powerful for getting some space. I'm candles. I love my lavender, my coconut, like, like I have to do that. Or sitting outside, it's getting warmer if you can,
Yeah.
go sit by some water, like whatever it takes, to get that and to flush it out.
Yeah.
It's important to get in that space. It is.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, for sure. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right.
Okay, so this may be
Go ahead.
this may be a bit dumb, but do we need references? I'm pretty sure we don't, or do
No.
we?
No reference.
Okay, because I'm so taken up with college work, like everything needs to be referenced. So it's like, oh, I was just wondering. Okay, thank you for this.
No, so here's a point. Now, if you're quoting anyone, you absolutely need references. Don't you know
Yeah,
there's
yeah, of
no
course.
plagiarism? I
Of
mean,
course.
I don't want you to say that. If you're quoting
No.
anything, even the Bible, like you've got to do that. You know that. If you get any statistics, you want to, yeah. But outside of that, no. But yeah, because it will
Okay,
come back. That part is
I
true.
was looking at the outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's a key point. There is no plagiarism, guys. Please, look, we don't want to have the whole book thrown back at us, because that will happen and you will deter for everybody. So yeah, you absolutely cannot. You can use quotes, but you better quote and you better put right next to it who that quote was, for sure. And that's why I just like free writing. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I feel like it's so important. And that's why I know your confidence. I have to get you to feel like you're the solution, in order for you to do that. If you don't, you're not going to flow, and you think the answer is coming somewhere else, but the answer really is coming from you. You are chosen for this time, for this season. You are part of this simply because of who you are, and God has given you ideas, resources, and this is really just the beginning. So I'm just tapping into it, right? In that regard. So please own it. Own what he gives you, own the ideas and the visions that he's given you. Nothing is too big, too small. Just let's flush that out in this book. Okay. All right. So I think that's it. You guys know the tour, the book release. Prayerfully, we'll release the book virtually, like in July, before we leave. I have to look at the dates, but again, because all these deadlines need to be met, but we will do a virtual book launch, and then we'll start. The first country will be in Kenya, and we have at least one author. That's the young lady, like I said, she's a politician, and so she's the only one that gets grace right now, is because of the political time that she's in. So we're going to be releasing a book in Kenya first. It'll be released in Burundi. Janine that just dropped off, she's one of our authors from Burundi. Then we're going to Ghana for a Four Seas Youth Summit, and we'll be doing South Africa will be our final stop. So in each of these areas, we'll be covering Four Seas. And like we said, if you're not going, or you're not going to all the areas, I will probably request that you do a video, and we'll talk about that, and I'll just record you, or however, talking about it. So, but that's secondary. Let's just get the writing done. So yeah, so Four C's, this is it. I like everybody confirmed and affirmed that journey, that roadmap. So I thank you, because that was what was in my heart, and I'm glad that y'all feeling that. So that's what we're going to do in the meantime. But bios and headshots now. Clock is ticking. Clock is ticking. All right. Any other questions? I have a call tonight at 8 Eastern Standard Time with the rest of the team. So I'm doing 2, but I'm glad we were able to do this. So if you want to come back on, if something comes up between now and then and you want to be back on, then I'll see you later tonight at 8 o'clock. Okay. So you guys have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.